Hi everybody, Richard Tromans here again at Artificial Lawyer TV. Today we're talking to Joe Borstein, who is the co-founder of LexFusion, which you may have seen in the news is a new, well, I'll let Joe explain it, but it's a new platform for effectively selling legal tech vendors to clients in a more sort of combined and I don't know, collaborative sort of way you might say. But anyway, I'll let Joe do the explanation. So first of all, in a nutshell, what is LexFusion?
Yeah, it's challenging to put it in a nutshell. I think Bill Henderson in his article captured it best, but the way we're calling it on our website is a go-to-market collective. So Lex Fusion is a membership organization, and we're representing, as of launch, 7 companies that represent, in our view, strongly held, amongst the best in class of each category of legal innovation. So what we're trying to achieve, and what I think we've really come close to fully achieving, is as close to a one-stop shop as possible, where corporate counsel and law firms can talk to us at LexFusion or any of the member companies individually, and be able to talk through not only what that member does, be it litigation document review, selection of lawyers, enterprise contract lifecycle management, but also to have a network of organizations that bring really most of the world of legal innovation to their door in a vetted way. So that's what we're trying to do. And that, like, our job as LexFusion is to curate the circle of companies, help those companies go to market. And I think in the long run, when people look back at this, they will see kind of the most exciting piece be developing new solutions at the intersection of those highly specialized companies. And so a very simple example of that is, Litera is one of the world's leading companies in deal technology, and Factor is one of the world's leading companies in deal services. And we're bringing everyone together to think about, can we create joint offerings that truly nobody else has, where we can offer, high-end tech and high-end services and tweak both to make them both better. So that's one example of kind of the fusion of our member companies, but we hope for there to be many more as we go forward.
Gotcha. So I mean, basically, it's a marketing initiative where you've effectively got a bunch of companies that at present, and we'll get to that in a second, are not competing too much with each other, and flogging them to primarily corporates. That's the main. Or is it
Actually, it's
as well?
actually equal part law firm and corporate. So about half of the companies are either partially or wholly designed to help law firms.
Oh,
So, for example, IntelliTeach, one of our member companies, is 100% dedicated to offshore and technology services for major law firms, and they already have numerous law firms you've heard of subscribing to their back office financial and IT services. Our job is to help them get in front of the rest of the global 150 and AmLaw 200, and also smaller firms. But at the same time, you're not wrong at all that marketing and go-to-market are a huge part of what we're doing. But I think we'd be remiss to say, before we even got the company off the ground, we are working on these collaborations between the companies, and basically creating a multi-party partnership that will be very hard to manage. And like, that is one of the main points of my job. It's a lot of what I did at Thomson Reuters and at Ernst & Young, was to create outside collaborations with technology and service providers to be able to come together and offer kind of 1 + 1 = 3 solutions. So
no, that makes total sense. Well, okay, well let me now put you on the grill for a little
sure.
bit. So okay, well, I had a few questions. So first of all, what happened? Now, Litera, it's no secret, and ALTV has interviewed the company about this. They're on the warpath. They're on an expansion. There's no secret about that at all. What happens if they build or buy a capability that now competes with part of your group,
So
or any other company for that matter?
Absolutely, and a fantastic question. And honestly, that's why we didn't launch this company 6 months ago.
Mm.
What we wanted to find, and we honestly didn't know when we came up with the idea if it was even possible, a set of truly non-competitive companies that had no vision to come into each other's space, at least in the medium term. Right? In the long run, we're all dead, right, Richard? But
Well,
in the short term,
that's really interesting strategically because effectively Litera has effect one HG Capital. They've shown their hands because effectively what they're saying is we're not interested in building capabilities in these areas, which are quite substantial areas though. And if you add to them, okay, we shall return to that shortly. What's in
yep.
it for you? So you're on a sort of commission basis, or they pay you up front to be part of this group, or how does that work?
Yeah, so there's a membership fee, and then what you might call a commission, like an upside for us, bringing them into to new areas and new deals.
Got you. Sounds a good one. Sounds a good one. Um, I guess another thing is, and it was one of the challenges that I had with Rain and Courts, is if you're going to market with this great big sort of armada of connected tech companies,
And
are you
services.
are you kind of making it a bit tricky for the buyers? Because effectively you're saying you've got to have these, you know, and like if someone comes along and says, well, actually, I really like Ping. They're great. You know, we were going to use them anyway. Actually, we were about to sign but we don't really fancy X, this other company that you've got. And you're like, well, sorry, mate, deal's off. You take.
Oh no, absolutely not. No, no. People can absolutely pick and choose, and I will say one thing that I really love about this structure is, we work for, a broad group of companies, and we've told all of the companies, I'm going to say it live on TV, like we will look anyone in the eye. We did a ton of homework, and you can watch some of the interviews that the member companies have done because we tortured them to make sure there were excellent solutions. What I don't believe, and what I would never say to anyone, is that they're the only excellent solution. And let me tell you, when I was at Pangea, for 10 years, I never told anybody, and at least I hope I didn't, I believe I didn't, tell anybody we were the only good LPO. What I could look people in the eye and say is, we were an excellent LPO. We had excellent people. We cared about what we did, and we spent a lot of time, energy, and effort making it better year after year. That's what these companies are. I will never look at someone in the eye and say otherwise. There are
But it,
other contract companies, there are other litigation companies, but these are excellent choices. And I think a lot of what my buyers want to do is cut through the clutter and
mm,
understand what a good choice is. We can present them with good choices in every category.
well, I mean, that's putting a huge. I mean, it's putting a huge responsibility on your shoulders, isn't it? I mean, in the same way that we had this challenge with global law firms when they started to emerge in the 90s and early 2000s, and like the London office or the New York office of the big firm would be superb, and that the let's say the Paris office was not quite so good. But the firm was saying, well, look, you use all of us, or you don't use any of us. I mean, they didn't say that loudly, but that was really the message.
Right.
Because otherwise, you undermine the business, don't you? I mean, what's the point in having a global law firm if you refuse to use half of it? It doesn't make much sense. So, I mean, yeah, it's an interesting one, that isn't it? But I mean, what happens if the client just says, "Well, okay, we'll take the Terra and Ping, and the other lot, no, we don't want. In fact, we're actually going to have direct rivals, and we would actually like you to try and help us build APIs between these and the direct rivals to your other companies. In fact, actually, half the stuff we use is Thomson Reuters,
I
who
don't,
want
I
to
don't
put
really see that as, I mean, I've always worked with and alongside rivals. It's just, it's part of the game in legal tech, and and legal innovation and legal services. There's no question that many companies, and probably most, maybe even all, will like some of our solutions, and maybe won't like others, or maybe already has an incumbent provider in other spaces. It's part of the game as it is now, and you have to be able to work well with others. So I think, like, I'm certainly comfortable with that, and I think all of our member companies are. What this allows is, let's say, big corporation likes solutions A, B, and C, but not D, right? Because they have a provider for D already, and they're happy with them. What's great about this is, the second that that provider drops the ball, or doesn't provide excellent services, they know who to call to at least find one excellent alternative. And that doesn't mean they're not going to still send out an RFP, but if they're happy with solutions A, B, and C, and they've come to trust, LexFusion's ability to vet what's out there, we hope and believe that they're going to come to us first when they're ready to try something new. And so it's a real advantage for even member D that didn't get in, on day one. They have this like active foot in the door, and hopefully companies for them, they all knew the other companies we were getting involved with. So there is a mutual respect amongst the companies that, all of them are, again, we're not saying they're the absolute best no matter what ever. We're saying they're excellent at what they do.
Gotcha, gotcha. Two questions, then we should end. But so
Yeah.
particularly, I mean, is this, and I'm sure this wasn't planned this way, but is this inevitably, and again, this happened with law firms when, some of the first global law firms, what they did is they formed alliances, very similar to this actually. In fact, it's not a million miles away from what Linklaters
Yes.
did. Linklaters was a large but not huge law firm in London. It built alliances with different law firms around the world, and you know, as if by magic, they all came together. And is LexFusion? In fact, you've kind of given it away in the name, really, haven't you? Yeah. Is it a precursor, even if it's not planned at the moment? Do you think this inevitably will be a precursor to all of those different companies coming together?
Look, I think it's a fantastic question and a really interesting thought experiment. It was not the plan from day one. In fact, one of the things I like about the model that we put together is that all of the management teams who are so dedicated and so passionate about their individual solutions that they are solving for, are not influenced by us. They get to keep making their thing better and better and better, and we get to keep really specializing in the thing that we love, which is bringing ideas to corporate and law firm buyers. Um, uh, could there be greater integration over time? I definitely think there could, and there's certain ways that I think are obviously beneficial to the buyers, which is where my mind is. Like, how do I make it better, cheaper, and faster for these buyers to integrate new ideas? Some of which can be, joint purchasing. Some of which can be, streamlined contracting. These are some of the things I want to think about in the first year. But first, like the day one mission is to, have, instead of cold calls and annoying the crap out of buyers, I want to have a world where we have pre-planned, organized meetings with the right people in the room where we can just talk about where's the low-hanging fruit to really bring real value to their legal department or law firm.
Well, I've got you segued perfectly into the next question, and the last question really, which is, will this really reduce the amount of marketing contacts that law firms and corporate in-house teams get? I mean, for example, let's take Litera, which has a very, very effective marketing machine and just videos, conferences, you name it, all singing, all dancing marketing engine. Um, they're just going to stop and let you do all the marketing for them directly in these sort of pinpoint, very focused meetings. I mean, it seems likely they'll just carry on. So the buyers effectively will have you going into meetings, plus they'll be receiving all the marketing stuff from all these other companies. I mean, they're not going to stop marketing, are they?
So it's a very good question. And it is a little bit different for the different companies.
Mm.
We have asked for some white space where we can conduct this sales strategy that we believe is the future. And they've given that to us, every company. A place where we can, I mean, it's not going to go from, mass marketing to a two 1 hour meeting a year cadence overnight. But all of them bought into this as the future of sales, and all of them are working towards it with us, alongside us, because we think that a calm meeting planned well in advance with peers who know what they're talking about is going to be not only more pleasant for the buyers, but more effective for the sellers, because they believe they have a strong value proposition that is better conveyed through a small amount of time per year than a constant frantic hustle. So it
Gotcha.
is aspirational, but yeah, I do. I honestly think we'll get there. And one other thing is, think about it from the point of view of the buyer themselves. To the extent that they already have a relationship with us at LexFusion, which a huge percentage of the Fortune 500 buyers already do, huge percentage of the global law firms, they can choose to kind of come to us and talk about the entire portfolio. And more importantly, maybe even for them, is like, we chose to start with only what we're calling mature solutions, like shovel-ready projects, right? These are things that are tried and true. But we're going to be working with the accelerators like MDR Lab and my law school, Penn Law. And I'm going to be spending probably about 60% of my time vetting new companies. So what you have today is not necessarily what you'll have a year from now. We will be bringing on new companies. We will be bringing on, as new categories get developed, we will be doing our research and putting our money where our mouth is and bringing on who we believe is best in class of these, new offerings. Again, we're never going to say there aren't other good ones, but we're going to say we have done our homework, we have talked to their clients, and we believe, you would be making a good choice by going with XYZ. So this will evolve, and for the buyers, it's going to become more and more powerful over time as we kind of broaden that circle of companies and broaden the cross section of solutions.
No, it makes a lot of sense. Actually, my special bonus question was going to be about
Let's do it.
jurisdictions, which was all of the companies, as far as I can tell, are based in the US. And you mentioned MDR Lab, which is Mishcon de Reyes
That's right.
Accelerator, which some people probably already know. That's based in the UK, in London. They do have lots of US legal tech companies joining their incubator, but it's got a UK feel. Will you just be focusing on the US? Which would
No, we'll absolutely be global. So
so
Factor has a huge office in the UK. Haystack just branched out and made a major acquisition, including lots of resources all over Europe and Asia. IntelliTeach has huge facilities in India. So, one of the first things we're going to put together is kind of a global map and footprint, but it is much broader than that. And again, on the LexFusion side, we started with myself and Paul Stroka, but we are going to be continuing to build out that team. The kind of the profile we're looking for is people that have been in the industry, 15 to 20 years, have deep experience in their practice areas, and can talk as a peer and understand these things. And frankly, the most important thing, that they're passionate about legal innovation and want to make it better. Our first hire is out of India. We'll be announcing him soon. He has deep experience with both sales and legal service and technology delivery, and will help us with our Asia Pac sales.
awesome. So CVs, everybody, please send your CVs.
Please do. Yeah.
And yeah, awesome. Well, look, I mean, and it's not really a question, it's more an observation, really, just to round off, which is, I mean, if this flies, it's going to make you one of the most powerful people in legal tech. You're going to be like the Godfather. It's going to be like, we're not going to have you in the group anymore.
That sounds like too much power for me. I don't know about that.
Don't go over to the dark side. Whatever you do, don't do that.
No, absolutely not. The truth is, we just want to move good ideas forward. I mean, I don't think we've talked a lot about this, but I took a lot of any excess earnings I made at Thompson and invested personally in ideas that I think are great. I was writing, unpaid for Above the Law for the past 6 years. I'm working for my law school. For the future of legal. I love this stuff. I want to make a living, obviously, like everybody else. But like, I just have, I really do believe that technology and globalization can make law better. It can massively bring the cost down, which I think will trickle down to lower income people and frankly, companies which are extremely important that don't have big budgets. And I think this is all going to happen in the next 20 years. And I just, I want to be a part of it in a way that's most impactful. And this seemed like a way that I could bring, the thing I love, which is, getting new ideas out into the market, to a broader kind of set of best-in-class companies and people who share a similar kind of passionate mindset about their niches.
Fantastic. Thank you, Joe. Brilliant. Well, good luck. I think it's a great
Awesome.
idea. I think
Thank
it's
you.
certainly going to cause some ripples in a positive way. So well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And anytime you want to have me back, I'm happy to be back.